Three phrases that will definitely help you whether you want to influence and persuade a visual person, an auditory person, or a kinesthetic person. Each of them have specific language patterns that they react to more than others. But before that, the first key is to verify what is the main sensory channel this or that person is using at this specific moment. Also, because during one session, the person may definitely change their representational system if they are getting into another emotional state, if they talk about another type of experience, they may shift to another sensory system. You need to follow them and communicate at the right time with the right language patterns. For example, if you hear phrases like "my life seems unclear and dark right now," or "our relationship used to be so much brighter," or "it's my duty to shine for them," for a guy who would be running a company and always putting pressure on himself for shining in front of his family, co-workers, whatever. Those phrases are definitely more visual than anything else. And with somebody like that, you may say, for example, "May I ask what stops you from putting things into perspective to bring some light to your problems?" You can see the visual language here: into perspective, distant, close. It is a matter of visual thinking. Light, lightning. It is about the visual understanding of the perception of the room around you or the environment around you. Phrases like that will hit their unconscious much more deeply and faster when they are used at the moment they think visually. Another example, if you hear phrases like "those people just keep harassing me," he never listened, he keeps talking about himself, or "why do they always still yell at me when all I am doing is trying to tell them the truth?" All of those phrases are much more auditory, if you noticed. And with somebody who keeps talking like this, you might use a phrase like "sure, I understand. Now, if there was a way to make those people quieter, more quiet as you speak, so that what you say sounds more appealing to their ears, and then what would be the first thing you would tell them?" Quite often people who have trouble communicating and put all of that on the language, people don't listen to me, they don't hear me out, a strong emphasis on the auditory concept. They are quite often people who have a trouble with their own internal dialogue, speaking too loud inside their own head, therefore they don't listen to people around them, and as a consequence people don't communicate with them either in the right way. So with those people you need usually to quiet them down, slow down their thoughts, their internal dialogue and narrative, and allow them to listen more carefully to what's happening around them, or to each voices inside their head one by one, so that they find clarity again and know what to say, so that people listen to them, and so that, more important, so that they listen to themselves. Much more important. And if we hear phrases like from a client like "this problem feels so heavy at the moment, no one can take that pressure off of me, it just keeps turning and looping in circles all the time." Pretty easy, kinesthetic phrases. In that case, you would say something like, "if you had already jumped past that limitation, what would have been the trigger that would have made you overcome that obstacle?" So it is also playing with time frames, which is another language pattern, a bit of complexity here to make you think in more meaningful ways, out of curiosity, but it is about kinesthetic language, jumped past, movement, action, location in space, all about kinesthetic language. So far, I can bet that some of those phrases I said so far, either the problem ones or the solution ones, maybe one phrase has been hitting you more than another one. Maybe one phrase was sounding more compelling to you, or was making more sense, more meaning to you when you heard that. That is definitely a signal that your brain enjoys using more either the visual, the auditory, or the kinesthetic. Is it a big impact in your life? Probably not, because in any case you can just switch to something else. However, I would say there is a big value in that whenever you are not making progress into something you want to find solutions for. in that case, translating the thing that is getting really unclear or getting you stuck in life, translating that into your favorite sensory system will definitely unlock things and make you solve the problems faster. Another example to summarize all of that is this graph, where you can understand more specifically what I am doing all the time when we use those small language patterns with sensory language. It is about submodalities, and those ones are very specifically the kind of words that are an echo, that are parallel, that are just unlocking the specific representation people have when they use the corresponding word. So in the visual, if they talk about something shady, there is a shadow in their life, talk about how can you illuminate their life. And ask them, it's not like you have the answers, you ask them so that they find the answers by themselves. However, trying to make somebody find answers by themselves without using their sensory language may get you stuck into a wall, and they won't hear you out enough for them to change. If they talk about something dark, ask them what stops them from gaining a shinier perspective in their life. If it is, if they keep hearing mean comments in their life from people around them, how can they comfort themselves with a warm voice? Do they even remember a warming voice in their life and what it sounded like, and how could they use that to talk to themselves whenever they rehearse those conversations in their head? If it is about a heavy problem, ask them how can you make that lighter? If it is about something where they feel down, pushed down and held down on the ground, how can they elevate themselves? How can they jump past that problem? How can they walk around to find a new solution? Whenever you use the same sensory language, they will find the solutions faster. And even just for yourself as a thought experiment, if you're still watching right now, thank you by the way, hit a thumbs up, you can just notice what is one thing in your life at the moment that is problematic. Either one person you have a conflict with, or something at your job, or something in your relationship with your wife, your husband, whatever. Something that is really a big trouble. Just notice for 2 seconds, how do you phrase that one problem in your head? Maybe even write it down or visually picture that phrase word by word, and notice, are you using more auditory language to describe that? Are you using more visual language? Are you using more kinesthetic language? Then I would like you, if you can, to underline mentally or on the paper the main sensory words you use to describe your own problem. And notice what is the main opposite submodality word you could use to translate, to transfer your representations so that your brain unlocks new capacities, new potential to find better meaning, new meanings, or just new solutions about this thing you are suffering from at the moment. That will definitely help you put things into perspective and find new meanings about anything that used to keep you stuck in the past. And if you want to develop your skills with that, I have a whole method prepared down below where you can learn step by step how to develop those language patterns, how to develop your ability to communicate, no matter that the person is speaking more visually, kinesthetically, or has a better emphasis on the words, on what did people say, on what you should say, what they should say to somebody. Whatever is their favorite sensory channel, there is a way to catch, stop, and slow down their words and your thoughts so that you catch what is the main sensory channel they are communicating with, and to respond with the corresponding language patterns so that they change faster and with less resistance, definitely. That whole method is down below if you want to check it, be my guest, and I will see you soon in the next video. Thank you for listening.